I believe we are live. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast live stream sponsored by the Jan Ad. We got Smitty Eagle 373, host of the 4133 pod on YouTube, already in the building. ASAP Rocky, how you feeling today? Smitty.
I'm feeling good, man. Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC. You get me?
Yeah, loud and clear. That's a good thing to start at. For the simple fact
it's a wonderful thing, man.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers didn't have a great season last year, but you still got to believe that at any time if the Packers start doing this right, doing that right, they'll be able to get something going. For the simple fact that Aaron Rodgers still has traits to be elite. And so that being said right there is good to know that, the NFC is ruled by one Jalen Hurts. We heard from him today. We definitely going to talk a lot of draft on this stream real quick. Shout out to everybody in the building. Unleash, Warehog, Eric, G-Lo, Philly Dog, Scott, KOLLC, always entertaining. Primetime Steven Joyce, Tyler, Trey, RW Swoop, Bold Brew, Rev Taco. Shout out to everybody who's up in the building. We definitely going to talk draft. There's some new rumors, speculations, this, that, and the third. But I do want to talk about Jalen Hurts, just showing you why he was worth every penny of the $255 million. You know what I mean? Smitty's still having trouble. We're going to get... go ahead, Smitty, if you're good.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a great play. Like, to hear what he said today, it kind of put me in a better spot. Like, I was already in a good spot with the 255 in the cap.
What's going on, Mike?
But to know he was putting on for the team, you know what I'm saying? He really took it as a team-friendly deal. That make you feel a lot better, man. That make you feel like we can grow.
Facts. How you feel, Fly Eagle 17, about that Jalen Hurts presser before we get into some draft talk?
I love it, man. But it basically just told us what we already know. Like we already know what type of guy he is. Like, and I didn't think he was taking a team-friendly deal per se, but I knew he would do something to make sure that he's not, like handicapping the team for upcoming years. And it's just it was a perfect way that Howie did Howie things. Jalen being Jalen, there's nothing we don't know.
Facts.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dev, how you feel?
Shit, man, you know what it is. I like it. I'm ready for Thursday and ready for the season.
Yes, sir.
Jalen is Jalen, so we already know about that.
Yeah, it's definitely the start, and I can't wait to see where things go. Like today, some of the things that we heard, I heard a report, from Peter King. This is Peter King opinion / he gets a feel for around some of the other GMs in the NFL, and they're comparing that certain teams feel like Gibbs is the better pick over Bijan. Just talking about that real quick. Also reports from NFL Network that teams picking a little in front or around the Philadelphia Eagles are petrified that the Eagles are going to take Bijan Robinson. Now, again, that could be, there's smoke and mirrors both ways. Are they really scared? Are they trying to egg the Eagles on to take a running back? Like, again, it's a chess game. It's poker face. Howie Roseman already got what he wants to do on his board. It depends on who falls, whatnot. But, of course, the rumors are going to come out a little bit more heavy as it pertains to draft trades, guys who are possibly on the trade block for their respective teams because, 3 days and things are going to go down. 3 days and things are going to go down. You got teams who are ready to rebuild, retool. It should be interesting, to say the least, but I can't wait. I still think in my heart of hearts it's going to be a defensive player we first take. But, if I've ever went into a draft with the mindset of I really don't know what's going to happen if we're picking at 10, if we're moving back, if we're moving up, I still think there's some type of speculation that we could jump in front of Chicago. And I did recently hear that Atlanta, with the 8th pick, has been low-key looking at Bijan too. So we're saying about Bijan not being picked at 10, and a couple rumors trickled out today about Atlanta liking him at 8. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't know if Atlanta would take him at 8, but I know the other rumor, about people being scared. I think he that dynamic to our offense, man. He could change some things. He's not Miles Sanders, so I feel like we could definitely upgrade and scare a lot of teams. But I don't know about the Gibbs situation. He's more of the Alvin Kamara CMC, so people like that type of, type of running back.
Yeah. Again, you can just look at it in the sense of Bijan might be still the number one as it pertains to overall talent. But however, teams looking at, I think this fits better, blah, blah, blah. Every team has their own philosophy, whether it's BPA or decision making due to your scheme fit, so it should be interesting. But Peter King throwing that out there. Another thing he threw out there is that GMs across the league told them they got like a little feel for Philadelphia, that we love Nolan Smith. How upset, happy would you be if, not saying at 10, but the end result was the Eagles' first pick, whether it's at 10 or a little bit behind, was Nolan Smith? Anybody on this screen has any Nolan Smith? I'm not too sure about him. Or how do y'all feel about the Georgia pass rusher linebacker?
I prefer him at 30, Mike. If I can say so, I prefer him at 30.
Yeah,
not 10.
Yeah.
30 at 30 be perfect.
I would take him at 32. And to go back to what you were just talking about with Bijan and everything, I've been kind of like coming off of we just gotta get Bijan, because there is Jahmyr Gibbs and different people. So I've been coming off of it a little bit, it's not so important. But after watching Howie Roseman's interview, that's all it was screaming. He was just screaming we gonna get Bijan.
Unique, all that unique talk, right?
Yeah, all that unique
draft
players. Yeah, I think he's drafting back and getting Bijan. He's moving back and getting Bijan. And I don't see anybody else taking them. The Falcons, they have other holes to fill. I don't, like you said, you can only take a running back when you don't have those holes. When your team.
So
is
no more Derrick Henry.
Yeah, wait. Whoa, a second though. Poorly ran organizations do poorly ran things.
Yep.
The Giants took Saquon Barkley in a mix of them not even being able to get to 500. You know what I mean? So you can never rule out the possibility of a team just making the wrong decision.
Running back last year get 1,000 yards. They rookie.
Who?
They rookie for Atlanta. He got 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, and then Cordell
like
Patterson in the mix too. The rotation, Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, I was surprised by the rumors of ATL being interested in a Bijan, to be honest. But hey, Steven Joyce, how you feeling today? Look like and don't look like you're feeling. Hopefully, you're feeling well, to say the least.
No, I'm in the hospital. Just had stomach surgery this morning.
But everything good though with it, right?
Yeah, everything's good. So chilling.
You gonna be home for the draft?
Hopefully.
3 days. Hope you have a speedy recovery, my boy.
Thanks, man.
Yes. Yep. Condolences, brother.
Don't need you watching the draft from the bedside, because then Howie Roseman did something you don't like. You just jump up out of nowhere and forget that you got stuff hooked up to you. You know what I mean? Howie Roseman done do something that you're not really feeling. As Eagle fans, we tend to overreact a little bit, so we've been told. But yeah, so I will agree with Fly Eagle 17. And I said this in my last video. I dropped a video today. I've been big on the fact that I believe that Bijan's an option. I still don't think it's going to happen until I see it. But I will say, though, I've made videos. There's been so much from articles and listening to how we talk that makes me think, man, it kind of sounds like he's talking about Bijan with the whole unique, and it doesn't matter. But I still okay, his talking allows me to lets me know that he's open to it, but I still got to see it to believe it. That's just where I'm at with Bijan in general. Believe it to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't really think Howie can go wrong in the first round, because there's so many guys that he can take, and there's not a pressing need for anybody. But I wouldn't be mad with Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Bijan. if he trades back, I think he might trade back for a player or something, but I have no idea.
He might go after Will Anderson.
He could trade up too.
Yeah.
I don't think he can go wrong like any which way.
Well, and again, you got the whole Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson. Both of them were balled in. They both play tackle. Both can play guard. We sound like we're okay with Cam Jurgens filling in that right guard spot for the time being, and then eventually taking over for Kelsey. But another thing that has been talked about is the offensive line and how so much of this stuff works because of how dominant our offensive line's been. So I wouldn't put it past Howie there. Again, I think Howie understands the luxury of Jeff Stoutland, right? Seeing what Mulata has transformed into. Kelsey was a 6th-round pick. Malu was a 3rd or 4th-round pick. Some of our best, think about it. The last time we went in the first round for a tackle or offensive lineman, he's not on this team no more, and he was the worst one of all of them. So that's needless to say. Stout couldn't transform him. I think it was more off-field issues and injuries lingering around, but
Who you talking about, Mike?
Dillard.
Oh, Dillard. Okay, I'm trying to figure it out.
We traded up. We traded up in front of the Texans to take Dillard, and he's been, I would say, not a success story, especially when you look at what Stoutland was able to do with guys like rugby player Mulata, Matt Pryor in the 6th round, being able to, go other places and start. Sam Malu was a 3rd or 4th round pick. And then let's not forget, Hall of Fame Kelsey was a 6th round pick. Howie said he had a 4th round grade on him, but he was a 6th round pick. It is what it is. I think Howie understands that you can get an offensive lineman later in the draft and do that. But will that offensive line be able to contribute this year compared to Peter Skoronski and a Paris Johnson? So I still do think that is clearly on the table for Howie. I just think that a lot of the guys, that are offensive linemen and certain defensive linemen, I think the Eagle fan base won't be mad if we can do a trade back scenario and still get one of these guys. I think that if the pick is at 10 and it's not Jalen Carter Fallen or Bijan Robinson, I think a large portion of the fan base is going to freak out. Now, if we move back to 15, 16 and we still don't get Bijan, I think it was soften the blow. But if the pick's made at 10 and it's not Jalen Carter or Bijan, I think the crowd's going to go wild if it's one Peter Skoronski and Paris Johnson, which I won't. I would have to let it play out before that. I would have to watch our player not succeed in Philly and then watch Bijan, by week 3, top 5 in the NFL, maybe leading the league, and you really would feel some type of way. See how it plays out, but it's coming. 3 days.
Offensive lineman at 10 would really upset me.
It's not. I think that's like a whole.
Just because I know what Stoutland can do. 17. Hold
exactly.
on, wait now.
You going to a whole.
I know what Stoutland can do. Him at 10 is like a little bit of push. Like he don't need a top 10 lineman to make him great.
And I think Howie and Stoutland know that they don't need, that's like it's Stoutland University for a reason. You're going to a whole nother year of college. You know what I mean? You learning stuff that 6th round might not have known, a year or two ago when they come to the Eagles. Stoutland is on them enough to where he can help them, get better, to get to the point where they reach their true potential, basically,
I mean, that's
go ahead, Anthony.
He's getting like offensive coordinator, head coach offers like every year.
Yeah, he's getting the money too. He's getting paid like it too.
Yeah, he's just like I'm staying right here with Stout University.
Yeah, I mean, and he'll go down in history as one of the best positional coaches for that. However, what I'm saying is though, could you imagine though if in this running back situation, right? Again, injuries happen. We got to account for them and whatnot. And right now, it looks like it's going to be Cam Jurgens or Jack Driscoll fighting for that right guard position. I think Jurgens will win it. But who's to say that the guy we do bring in is going to be able to graduate from Stoutland University in this offseason. So what I'm saying is if you end up drafting a offensive lineman in the second, third, maybe late seventh round, maybe you don't even do that and you mess with the undrafted rookie free agents class and whatnot. Yes, a lot of people do graduate, but we saw guys like Sua Opeta not be able to get it done. Like, remember, that was a lot of people he had to try to push through that year. But remember the year where everybody went down and we were signing offensive linemen left and right, the one guy who was blocking his own players and whatnot. These guys went to Stoutland University, but they did not pass the grade still. So not everybody passes Stoutland University. It still takes special individuals like Jordan Mailata and company. So again, I think as much as we feel this way, and I think Howie definitely understands that we have an eye for talent past it. Landon Dickerson wasn't a first round. He's a second. Cam Jurgens. So I see that, but man, he sees Lane Johnson. He's seen what Lane Johnson meant to this team for a decade. And I'm not calling Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson Lane Johnson because, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame as one of the best right tackles to ever play this. But, in the long run of things, if you do draft a guard or tackle and he's giving you, 10 years of B+ to A+ playing, then, in the long run, 5 years from now, we're like, dang, I'm glad this happened. Just like the Jalen Hurts pick, just like the Landon Dickerson pick, right? We didn't really fool you like that in the sense of the injuries in Alabama were adding up crazily, you know what I mean? So sometimes you can't really figure out what is good or bad from this pick until it's either really bad or really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Makes sense.
But it's not fun. It's not fun. I wasn't happy when we got Andre Dillard. I just said, man, if we're drafting a offensive lineman this early, if we're moving up in front of the Texans to get him, he must be good because I didn't know who he was really, and he wasn't good. So, the chances of gambling are less when you are picking as early as 10. But I think especially the unique talk, the constant mention of we won't be in the top 10 to pick again for a while, hopefully under the reign of Jalen Hurts, means go out there and get yourself a guy that is not gonna be able to get it done.
I think we go O-line with that second round pick.
The second or the second? So the 62.
Yeah, the 62.
I can't even see 30.
I wouldn't.
I don't. Yeah, but I just think they're gonna go defense with that 30.
So you got all you so you still on the wave of offense with 10, right? Or somehow
defense and offense again.
Offense, defense,
and that's usually
offense.
how Howie does it too.
I can agree with you on that 17. I think he gonna mix it up a little bit too.
Yeah.
I would have
just like last year. Just like last year, he went Jordan Davis, AJ Brown, and
Cam
Jurgens.
Yeah, defense, offense. And the year before that, it was Devontae, Landon Dickerson, and then
What was it?
Milton. No, because we traded that. Milton was a 4th round pick, right? Or a 3rd?
Devontae. I ain't lie. I didn't remember a lot after we picked Devontae. I was drunk. I was lit.
First round,
Yeah.
we're gonna do.
I think we did. Let's see what the chat say. Oh, wow. I totally forgot about the chat for a second. Hold up 1 second. Shout out to my guy Key of Destiny
Bijan.
47 with the $5 super chat. He said, let's go. Draft weekend is my favorite. Honest answers only. Would you rather have Bijan in the draft or go for King Henry and drop draft position? So you're saying
I was waiting on.
Sheesh.
It's gonna be Bijan and Buda Baker first round.
Yep.
That
I would love. That I would love.
So, but let's answer Key of Destiny 47. Honest answers only. So he's saying draft Bijan with the 10th pick, right? Or trade the 10th pick for King Henry, but also again. Wait, he said drop draft position. So Key of Destiny, you don't got a super chat. Are you saying we trading first round picks with the Titans, who I think pick at what, 11, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I believe the Titans are
not giving
definitely not. Not for no
it's only
30.
one behind us. Are you saying trade back in what scenario? But all right, let's just keep it like this for now. King Henry or Bijan? If you can only pick one, everybody on the panel, go ahead, let me know.
I feel like I'm not. If I'm correct, Derrick Henry never been hurt, right?
He's been
Like
nicked up.
not a long,
Nah.
not big. I just feel like it's not gonna be worth it anyways, though. Like if you getting Bijan, and I feel like not even that it's not worth it. I just feel like if you get Bijan, you're getting a cheap running back for 5 years, 4 years, and you might have to do something at 3. Okay, that's fine, but you're getting a promising young talent that pretty much we can try to keep him healthy and everything. If we give something up for Derrick Henry, we're going to be giving up a lot, and I think we're going to be working against ourselves in a lot of ways. We're going to be working against ourselves because we did all this work these last 3-4 years to get these draft picks to put ourselves in position. We're just going to give it away for a running back. It's kind of the same as drafting one. And not only that, the money that we just gave Jalen Hurts and the way that we structured it, if we just take him for a year, there is a big possibility, like LB says a lot, like, oh, well, that's like a trip to the Super Bowl. It could be, but what you just say, we have to take account for injuries and things like that. And if he goes down, then that makes everything not worth it. If we get Bijan, we're not wasting money. We're not wasting picks. If, say, hypothetically, we got him and, he got hurt, it's not the same scenario. We still have running backs. We still have everything we would have had, and we have everything we've been working for. Like right now, I wouldn't go King Henry. I don't think we need him.
And he's 29, ain't he?
Yeah,
Right.
He's older.
Yeah,
he's a great running
there.
back. I'll definitely take him over Bijan. I just don't feel like we need him right now. I think Bijan will be the better choice for us.
Yeah.
All right. So Anthony, what's your decision though? Decision time.
Yeah, it's tough because it's both great options. If you go the King Henry route, you would probably trade back to like maybe a late first rounder or somewhere in the 2s and 3s, and you could kind of work getting some young guys on defense, which I think is the route Howie is going to try to take. But Bijan would give you an electrifying asset to the offense. He can run, he can catch behind this offensive line with Jalen's RPO. You can say the same thing about Derrick Henry, but it could essentially just be a 1-year rental when you could have Bijan locked up for 4 to 5 years and then just kind of worry about if he breaks out, he kind of has like a Zeke first 3 years working like how we were going to pay him or if we just let him go and kind of start the cycle again. And not to mention Howie Roseman's talked about like cheap guys at the running back position. So putting a lot of money into Derrick Henry and like having to re-sign him at 29, I don't think that's all too likely. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Bijan, but honestly, I have no clue what he's actually going to do.
And he would be 30 by the time we sign him.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, and again, if I'm building this for the future, right, for the longevity of Jalen Hurts' 6 years or at least a large portion of that, I'm with y'all. Bijan will be the better route. However, me thinking in a standpoint of we are coming off a still disheartening Super Bowl loss in a sense of the younger player who has the possibility to be as talented or at least pretty darn close to a King Henry. Different styles for sure, but has the potential to be something would be the smarter decision. However, coming off a Super Bowl loss, anything other than the Super Bowl is going to be somewhat disappointing. I'm not saying if it's not, you can call it a Super Bowl or bust season. I can't, only because Jalen Hurts is 24 years old. We got to relax, right? But as a fan now, right? Like if we make the NFC Championship, shows that we're a dominant team, we're going to be around for a while. But as a fan, I just want to get back. And then so King Henry would be the driver's seat type move to just dominate once again, have a, again, you got to stay healthy as a team, but to dominate in so many different fashions, pass, run game, and then go ahead and, solidify that number 1 spot and feeling as good, if not better this year than we were last year. So I'm just saying from a Super Bowl standpoint, getting one of them extra trophies on our shelf. We only got one, shoulda, coulda, woulda had 2. That's where the King Henry thing comes in. But again, we're just getting started, as Howie Jeff Lurie said today. that this is not this is a just getting started move with Jalen Hurts and company. So our team is still, the core of it is young, and I'm ready to rock.
Yeah,
Well, for me,
right?
right?
Oh, good.
that's
For me,
the
it
thing,
come
though.
down
Like,
to compensation, man. Like, what I got to give up to get Henry? Do I got to give him
Yeah.
a first, second, third, fourth? You willing
I'm
to
not
take a
giving
pick
up
for
more than
next
a
year?
third for him.
If
I'm
I
not
can give
giving
you
up
a
more than a
third for
third for
next
him.
year, then I'm down for the ride, man. I mean, that don't put us out of contention for another running back in this draft. You feel me?
I really don't
if we can
think
get a
that
late pick though.
I don't think the key to us getting back
I'd
to the
rather
Super
draft a
Bowl.
running back, man. That's how I would go. I'm not trading from the 29-year-old. Yeah, I get Derrick Henry's great.
I'm gonna give him a 7th-round pick.
I'm not giving up no people run
A
around here
seven-
like
29-7.
give up. I'm here a lot of people tell me we should give up a first round. I'm not giving up a first and a second for Derrick Henry. If I'm going to give up anything, it will be a 4th round or a 5th round if we had any, right? But at the end of the day, listen, I'd rather go after Bijan. Number one, I heard a lot of NFC teams are scared. Well, if you're scared of Bijan Robinson, the miles in, make sure that your nightmare comes true. Because I want to draft him now. Just because you're all scared of Bijan Robinson being offense, let's make it true. Let's make it official. Let's have the boogeyman really haunt your dreams at night, knowing that Howie Roseman makes you, tingle in your sleep and wake up and you see Bijan Robinson on the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that'd be a perfect idea. If the NFC teams want to admit they scared of Bijan Robinson on the Eagles, let's make it true. I want Bijan Robinson. I think he's the best running back. I know a lot of people talk about Gibbs. I'd be okay with Gibbs. But here's the thing. When I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and I heard Howie Roseman's press conference, I don't think they're going defense. I think it's going to be all offense. I think they're going to really try to build around Jalen Hurts even more. I think when you look at the prospects, you see the guys like the receiver from Ohio State that they just looked at yesterday. Offensive lineman. They brought in Bijan Robinson so early. It's not like they Zoom called him. He was the only 2 teams that met with him. The Bucks and the Eagles. And everybody telling me we shouldn't take Bijan at 10. Here's the problem with that. I don't think he will last with the Bucks. I think the Bucks will take him because the Bucks need a running back. And you Leonard Fournette, I don't know if this. They need a lot. But here's the thing, right? I'm hoping that Bijan comes to Philadelphia. I think that offense would be too unstoppable. With that offensive line, and you add a number 1 running back in that draft. And listen, I know a lot of people talk about we shouldn't draft running backs. Only for bad teams. If you're a bad team, you don't deserve to draft a running back. I think the Falcons should not draft a running back. I heard the rumors that they might draft a running back, but why? You need a quarterback. You need offensive linemen. You need a lot of stuff. You need pass rushers. You know what I'm saying? The Eagles, to me, are a perfect situation to draft a running back. They got offensive linemen. They got some defense in free agency. You add a Greedy Williams. You add a guy like Emmons, who's a really good safety in free agency that you picked up. You add guys like that. You got Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis, so I need them to step up. You can draft a safety in the 2nd round. People telling them we should draft Range in the 1st round. There's guys like Antonio Johnson you can draft in the 2nd round. There's guys that are going to be falling in the 2nd round. Guys, defensive ends are going to be falling in the 2nd round. You think all defensive ends are going in the 1st round? You're crazy. They're not. We've seen so many times where we've seen guys like Nakobe Dean fall in the 3rd round, who should have never fell in the 3rd round. We've seen guys who fell in the 1st round.
On fire.
And go in the 2nd
I
round.
was about to say he's
Well,
speaking.
Yeah, but let me just say this though, to
EC.
be devil's advocate, right?
You ain't
To be
saying nothing wrong yet either.
No, and
Hey, I
look,
appreciate that. I
and
hope I'm not.
I hear you, and that's been the main reason of why the national media, other sites like WIP and blah 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 are starting to acknowledge it for the simple fact. For the simple fact that we are in a different situation than other teams in the top 10 and whatnot. But to still play devil's advocate, right? If you're looking at defensive ends dropping back, safeties dropping back, this is still a smaller class for safeties and defensive ends as it pertains to running backs. If you look at one position in this 2023 draft, if we're playing devil's advocate here, right? Because I'm again on the line of I don't think it's gonna happen. If it does, I've said it multiple times. You ain't gonna hear me argue. I'm gonna go get my Bijan jersey and we gonna give one away for free on the channel. You heard it here first. Now we're gonna give one away. That being said, devil advocate is this is a very deep running back class, deeper than the safety class, deeper than the edge rushing class. So that is only devil advocate. And real quick, shout out to my guy D Dragon with the $2 super chat. He said we could have had Jefferson, but we drafted Rager. Sometimes it's good to keep that in the back of your mind. right?
I'm
Because
over
then,
that
you know,
already.
at the end of the
We
day,
got to get over that, man. We got AJ.
Yeah, that's
I hear
over
you.
with. That's long gone. Man.
But you
That's
keep it in the
long.
back of your
Facts.
mind to temper expectations
But-
on not a epic fail, but who you really want doesn't mean is who we're really gonna get. I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, we don't need a Jefferson and Rager disparity. We just need it to be whoever we do get and puts on the Eagles uniform, let them ball out for years to come.
Can I say something?
And that's another thing, because we hear, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's another thing. When we hear people say we should draft offensive linemen, that's how you end up with Rager picks, because you go for needs and not what we really want, right?
Here's why I'm not worried about
Go for the best player.
You're right. And this is why I say you're right. I got to agree with you on that, because if y'all think about it, man, like, don't get me wrong, it probably is going to be an experiment with Cam Jurgens at right guard, but let's think about this. This is Stoutland University we talking about. This will be his second year in it, and he'll be between Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey. It ain't going to be that much of an experiment. So the way I see it is, if we're going to take an O-lineman, we can take one in the third round. And by next year, we can take a guard in the third round. By next year, y'all know Stoutland going to have him to be a legit starting right guard, so we can just slide Cam Jurgens over the center. That's what I'm saying. Really, if you look at it, like you asked, who would I choose, Henry or Bijan? I would rather have Bijan over Henry, because he's younger. He doesn't have the mileage and wear and tear on his body, especially from an NFL perspective. And you know for a fact, guaranteed 5 years he's under contract. So you know you're going to get at least that production out of him. Plus, he's not going to get as much wear and tear on his body in the NFL, because we always use more than one running back. It's a stable. Plus, Jalen Hurts will still they'll take hits off of each other. So
I just honestly, I don't feel like the key, like, you know how we say, like, oh, Derrick Henry, we're definitely going to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's the key. And I don't think running back at all is the key to get back to the Super Bowl. If you want to be real, you know what'll make me feel like we're going back for sure is if we send that 30 to Arizona. That's why I feel like if we do that, I feel like we're going back to the Super Bowl for sure.
But let me just say this, though.
And we still can do that, too.
Real quick, EC1, I will say this, though. As much as we can't, we keep saying, and I think, yeah, there's still got to be some we got to get some additions to this defense for sure, right? No, even if we want to win with offense, we still got to get some more additions to this defense. I think our defense is good to play, but injury here, injury there, I think we're now starting to reach into a bag that I'm not too comfortable with. I think we're good right now on the surface. We got to readjust this team in August or with a Buda Baker trade or something like that. But for the longest time, we weren't getting production from the running back position. Besides 17 we did, and we went to the Super Bowl. Let me just say this. Carson Wentz was dicing it up the same way Jalen Hurts was dicing it up. I like Jalen Hurts better, of course. That being said, absolutely. We were third in rushing when we went to the Super Bowl in 17. Then Miles Sanders couldn't stay healthy when we drafted him, blah, blah, blah. But listen, this is a 1,300-yard back. Forget Miles Sanders, forget the other years of injury. On our way to the Super Bowl, we were third in rushing in 17, and we were top 5 rushing in 2022. So I don't think a running back makes or breaks a Super Bowl run for most teams, but we do have a 1,300-yard missing piece. Now, can Kenny G, Rashad Penny, or a new draftee do it? Yeah. But I'm just saying, that's Pro Bowl.
I'm not saying we don't need a running back. I'm saying that each three of those running backs, Bijan, we take Jahmyr Gibbs, we could take whoever we get, it'll be fine because of our offensive line. I'm saying there's other needs that are way more important than going to get Derrick Henry. We don't need Derrick Henry. We got an offensive line. We got a position to go draft a running back for 5 years. We'll be fine without him. Let him go to the Bucs. Let him go to the Bucs or something.
And we need to go offense. We need to get younger offense. In some spots on the offensive line, we need to get younger, but we need to get younger along that defensive front. That's what it is. We need to find guys because BG's getting ready to be at the end of his rope. Fletch is at the end of his, you know what I'm saying, coming to the end of his. So we need to get other guys to step in for them and other younger guys. Plus, you got to think, Bradbury and Slay, come on now. We got to get younger on that defense.
We're not dropping the corner in the first round.
I just don't think that.
I'm gonna be the first one to say we're not. I don't think we're going defense in the first round. Like a lot of people think we're gonna go defense in the first round. I don't think so. I think we're going to go in the second and third round defense because when you look at the Eagles,
We're going back to back offense.
I think they're
With a
going back
30
on
pick
offense.
too?
Yeah.
Y'all think we can get
You ready
booted
to
with
play Madden?
the second round pick?
No. I'm not ready to play Madden. But when you look at Howie Roseman, he just paid Jalen Hurts. You don't think they're going to build around Jalen Hurts now? They're going to do everything again. They're going to do everything they can to make that offense so efficient that no one can stop that offense.
Make sense. You make sense right here. But the only way they're going double offense is if they take 10, they trade back a few spots, and the only way they're going double offense is if those two offensive players are Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jahmyr Gibbs, because Bijan Robinson is already gone. That's the only way they're going double offense.
But now,
Stu,
I don't
think
agree.
The Eagles like Bijan so much. I don't think they're going to pass upon him. If he's there at 10, I think the Eagles take him.
Like I said, I'm not opposed to Bijan. I'm not opposed to Bijan, Gibbs. I don't have a preference. I do have a preference, but either or I'm good with. I would prefer Jahmyr Gibbs because he's a little more explosive. But like I said, the only way they're going double offense is because one of them has more straight line breakaway speed. The other one's more physical, has that more break tackles and this, that, and but at the same time, like I said, the only way they're going to go double offense is if they can get Jackson Smith and Jigba because they traded back because who they wanted at 10 ain't there. And then all of a sudden, Bijan's gone. And then they get Jackson Smith and Jigba and then Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the only way they're going to go double offense.
And that receiver from 30. Just imagine
now y'all really talking some.
Bijan. And we say, hey, I ain't gonna lie to you.
I gotta disagree with y'all. I gotta disagree with y'all for this. I gotta disagree for the only reason why is because what we just said. We just came off of a heartbreaking loss. We trying to get back. Everybody in the organization is trying to get back. We don't get back, Stu. We don't get back with building depth with you for later. We don't get back that way. EC,
No. I just said that's the only way they go. I'm just saying that's the only way they go double offense if those are the combinations.
And we don't get back to the Super Bowl by going double offense in the first round either. In my opinion, we have other roles to plug.
You're right. I agree with you there.
We got to plug safety. We got to plug linebacker. We got to there's actual positions we have to plug before we start backing up other players.
Hold on. Wait, I gotta show you love for that shirt you got on, my man. That's what's up.
Kincaid, yeah. Real quick though, we got a super chat in the YouTube side. He's Soho Blaze with the $5 banger. He said, when Chris Johnson says Bijan is the most complete running back he's seen since Adrian Peterson, you just take him at 10. It's as simple as that. I did watch that clip. It was a couple. It was Adrian Peters. It was Chris Johnson, a former coach and another former player, all giving super big praises to Bijan. It was on that 33rd podcast. And shout out to Salah Alantre. If I'm saying your name wrong, I'm sorry. Hey. He said Henry will cripple the salary cap, but Bijan at 10 is a reach.
Exactly.
Yes.
No. Hold
He's going to cripple everything we just did.
Let me tell y'all something. A reach is drafting an offensive lineman when you really don't need one, right? A reach is when you're drafting a guy because, like the Falcons drafting a running back at reach. A running back, when you got all the people, and here's what I hear all the time. It's a reach to draft
a reach is drafting a bell cow running back when that's not what your system needs. That's a reach.
But here's my thing, right? You got the best offensive line in football, best quarterback in right now.
But it doesn't matter if that's not what your system. If your system does not
I don't
need
care
that.
about system. I don't care about system.
Really, the system is built around your quarterback, and it got you to the Super Bowl.
Let me tell you something. Who cares about system? Who cares? Get the best player. We got to stop saying about system. I don't care about system. If Bijan Robinson's the best player, screw system. Because I want to win. Do you want to win championship? Yes or no? This year or next year? I don't care about next year or the following year. I care about this year. I want to win back. I want to go back to Super Bowl this year. I don't care about system. That's how you end up with Jalen Rager, because of a system. I don't want that.
Exactly.
He's
going off today, y'all.
All right, but look, real quick. Let's get the two newcomers in the conversation. We'll start with Kincaid. What's going on? How you feeling about just some of the things that's been saying? Again, it's barbershop talk. just about the draft. You know, we talked about Jalen Hurts in the beginning, but let's continue with the draft because it's going to be here in 3 days. We're going to not be talking about who we should be taking and how we've done very soon. So, Kincaid, give me your thoughts on just this draft in general and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, at this point right now, man, it's everybody's lying, right? Everybody's doing the poker face. You don't know who's telling who. You know what I mean? They lying to their own moms. So at this point right now, though, we're at is I think it's you draft the best player available. You know what I mean? And especially with the 12 picks that we got coming on next year, bro. We have a window. We have a 3 to 4 window where we got to get this shit done. If we don't if we don't, absolutely travesty. Absolutely travesty. So, I mean, let's be honest, though. We know Howie. Howie loves the trenches. But if you heard the press conference where Howie said,
Unique.
said some things. He said, hey, if I can, he said, if Bijan is there, that's a weapon. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So I get it, but Nolan Smith is my guy right there. But I'm going to tell you right now, that Nolan Smith, that's my guy right there. But if Jalen Carter is there, I'm running to the joint, putting my joint right in. Short hair, don't care. Give me Jalen Carter all day.
I could have sworn I said that about like 3 weeks ago, Mike.
Yeah.
I even said Nolan Smith, and even Smitty said at 10. I said I don't care. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it.
I'm not dropping Nolan Smith.
Go ahead, Trey. Listen, Trey's on that Bijan trade too. Bijan train too. But go ahead, Trey. Let us know what you're thinking over there.
Listen, right? When they said what they said about Derrick Henry, I ain't even gonna lie. I want Henry. I don't care that he's 29. Listen, right? Listen. I do not care that man is 29, right? I feel like this. You get Henry for 2 years. You mess around being in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. That's the first time the Eagles. Listen, getting Derrick Henry behind this offensive line will be criminal. I'm taking the words from LB mouth. Getting Derrick Henry behind this offensive line will be criminal.
Let me ask you this though, Trey. Like, hopefully not. But what happens if he gets hurt? We just crippled ourselves for no reason.
What you mean if he get hurt?
We crippled everything that we just did for no reason if he gets hurt.
When in his career has he shown that he's been hurt?
The last 2 years, he got
That's the point. It's due. It's due. And he's older, so it's due now. Why would we go get him and take that chance?
He done been nicked up the last 2 years, bro.
He does have a lot of soft tissue injuries.
It's due for him to like fine wine, man. We don't do that, man. Come on, we do not do that.
Hold on.
Trey,
I understand you young, Trey, but soft tissue
hurt,
injuries don't heal the same. Soft tissue injuries don't heal the same over time. As you get older, you do not get healthier with soft tissue injuries.
To Trey's point, though, Derrick Henry coming here, you know, wear and tear. If you want to mitigate that, you do got the Penny. You do got Kenny G.
True.
You do got Jalen Hurts. You do got an incredible passing game. You got an incredible passing game. What I'm saying is though, like in Tennessee, this dude was like, oh, every game you ready to take him 35 carries. You ready to take him 30 carries. I'm just saying to Trey's point. You know, you don't got to give this man the ball 30 times to win a football game. Where in Tennessee, they only won games that he carried the ball 25 plus.
But you also don't have to give him the ball 30 times.
That goes hand in hand. It's like, can you count on him to carry that 15 to 18 times?
But hold on, here's the thing about it though.
A little bit of wear and tear on him.
Here's where
able to pay that the 6.5 million.
It is football. But here's where you can't be bubble wrapping these players though too. Like
here's where Mike and Trey's logic come in. But Mike and Trey's logic come in. The point here is where you really need a guy like Derrick Henry is in the second half. When you say like you got that lead and you just need to wear in the second half, them defenses is tired. They ain't trying to tackle no big freight train like a fridge with legs like that. They not going to
But no, to go against that, y'all are saying like you don't have to give him the ball 30 times. You don't got to give him the ball 18 times, 15 times. It only takes
most of his work need to be in the second half.
It only takes one time to give him the ball and he gets hurt. You got to understand.
But if we're going to that extent, we might be like this. Never trade for a player again.
I'm not saying that.
Crystal ball now. We're going in the crystal ball.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is just like y'all are saying, just because we have a couple of running backs, they won't get hurt. Miles got hurt last year and broke his hand, and we had a bundle of running backs then too, right?
Look, if we worried about
I just don't trust it because for the risk is not worth the reward, in my opinion. Being that we have other options, it's not worth.
You know what? Okay, you're absolutely right. Because if we all worried about all that, why don't we just sign Zeke and say the hell with it?
This then. That means you definitely don't trust it this year because we got Rashad Penny. This man is.
I'm not signing no Zeke Elliott.
I don't trust Rashad Penny. I don't trust Rashad Penny.
It's a cheaper option.
All I'm saying,
I'm not signing Zeke. Zeke a free agent. You ain't got to give up nothing for him.
Listen, I am done with Cowboy players, man. After Orlando scanned you, I'm done with Cowboy players, bro.
Whoa. Sign Zeke. Listen, sign Zeke.
I did. Still. It's a cheaper option.
He's also washed. He's not the Zeke.
If we had no other option, I'll go Zeke.
I'm just saying, if we look, this, I'm just saying, look, listen to what I say this. If we all worried about injuries, this, that, and the third, and having a stable of running backs and taking pressure off this, that, and we ain't got to give up nothing for Zeke. He a free agent. All you got to do is give him a cheap-ass contract. He already said he want to play for us. He already said he want to play for us.
I don't care what anybody says. Derrick Henry's a beast, dude. You put him with that offensive line, they're going to go crazy.
I'm sorry. Put Zeke with this offensive. This is the only reason why I say with Zeke. Those 12 red zone touchdowns.
No, because he gets me DeMarco Murray.
Taking hits off your quarterback down there on the goal line.
I'm not trying
This is my thing. I mean, we're all, but we're going in circles here. What I'm saying is, let's get to the solution, though. Let's get to the solution.
Let me say something real quick. Because I get man, listen, right?
Order in the court after this.
Know the Eagles, right? If anybody knows
Judge
Eagles,
Philly Mike.
And they seen what we was doing last season. We go up early passing the ball. That's what we do. We are not, listen, if anybody watched us last season, we threw the ball the most on first downs than anybody else in the league. We throw the ball early in the game. We put teams straight away in the air. If we get somebody like Derrick Henry back there, listen, in the second half when we couldn't run the ball and consistently get first downs, that's done. That's done with. That is done with. We're getting the third and 3 easy. So therefore, all he got to do is dump off the Dallas or give AJ a slice. Come on. What are y'all talking about?
But we already do that. We already do that with Miles. We already do it with AJ. We already do it with Boston Scott. We already do that.
Fly Eagles.
We do that with Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell.
Exactly. We do that already. So what's the actual need to go take that risk? That's my point.
Hey, listen. I'm taking that risk. Listen, if we can't get Bijan right,
Henry in this league.
Hold on.
No, well, he's saying it like this, though.
Let's say Bijan Robinson's at 8. Let's say the Falcons take Bijan. I'm trading for Derrick Henry. If Bijan is gone and Carter is gone and Anderson gone, I'm taking Derrick Henry. Because you still need a running back.
There's 4 or 5 other options in the draft.
So what? And this offensive line wouldn't be good with Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry's never had an offensive line like this.
What are we giving up?
Never had an offensive line like this.
It goes back to
never ever had an offensive line like this.
See, here's the thing about that, though. If we trade for Derrick Henry and you said you ain't giving up more than a third or a fifth, then we ain't got to worry about it waiting until day 3 anyway.
I mean, listen. If they want a first-round pick, then I'm paying up the phone. But if they're going to settle for a third-round pick, then I'll make the deal. I don't think Tennessee is going to get a lot for Derrick Henry. He's 29 years old. You know what I'm saying? I think the AJ Brown was a little bit different because AJ is 25 years old, and you had to give up more for a young receiver. But Derrick Henry's a little bit older. I think a third and a fourth-round pick would do it. I do.
What are we paying? What are we Let's talk about what are we paying him though, because we didn't give Jalen that crazy.
I mean, you don't got to worry about that. You don't got to worry about that. You want to know why? You want to know why you don't got to worry about that? Because Howie Roseman's there to help. Don't worry about that. Let Howie figure that out.
I was about to say his cap hit 16 mil, but this Howie we talking about.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, what are we
We talking about Howie Roseman. Listen, if there's a guy who can figure it out, it's Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman's the best GM in football. The best guy who can deal with cap space. I don't worry about what we need to pay him.
I want to make it difficult. I want to make it difficult for us. Hold up. I want to make it difficult. Let's now, for the next 10 minutes, only talk about defensive prospects, right? Because I know the offensive game is fun, right? All right, so we don't get the fun running backs. We don't get the boring offensive linemen. Let's talk about some of the defensive ends, the safeties, guys around 10 through 20 that you think could go. We can move back for. We can talk about if Jalen Carter is a serious option, like how we can move up where we wouldn't be giving up a lot of compensation to go ahead and maybe get to 7, 8. Just jump in front of Chicago. But let's talk about defensive prospects because at least I want to get things out there that might happen too. Because the way we're talking about offense and even the boring offensive lineman, when that defensive player is called, if a defensive player is called, at least we know that we talked about it a little bit. So where do we go as it pertains to defense?
If we don't get I don't want, and it's Van Ness. I don't want him at 10. If we draft him at 10, I think it's a reach. A lot of people I heard rumors that if the Eagles get Van Ness at 10, they're going to draft him. I hope not. Don't draft him. Move back. If you're going to draft him, move back down.
But he's a good prospect. He has motor. He has no skill in the bag. He has no skills at all.
He reminds me of Derek Barnett. He reminds me a lot like Derek Barnett.
Like if we draft Lucas Van Ness at 10,
that was productive.
Look, if we draft Lucas Van Ness at 10, there is not enough weed on the planet for me to smoke to be okay with that. There really ain't.
I think if we don't get Jalen Carter, our next best options honestly would be Buddha or Devin White. And find a way to get them.
Man, y'all just want to trade.
They're young.
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Buddha Baker ever since his draft year. I want Buddha Baker.
Those are young players, though.
Those are young Buddha Baker since his draft year. I want Buddha Baker.
What about Patrick Queen? Would y'all trade for Patrick Queen?
Yes.
See, he's a better coverage linebacker than Devin White.
Injury prone.
I think Devin White would be good for Kobe Dean.
Stay healthy, man. Come on.
If you got Devin White and the Kobe Dean, I can't argue with that. Or Buddha Baker.
But look at this, though. You guys got to look at the big picture. Right now, you're playing fantasy Madden. Think about it. When is the last time Howie's put in money in the linebacker position? For God's sake, right now,
when's the last time we traded for number one receiver, though?
That's why I said Devin White and Patrick Queen are unrealistic.
Y'all just said the same thing about,
running back,
to bring it up. Y'all just said the same thing about running back. If somebody's going to figure it out, Howie will figure it out.
So can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? When was the last time we traded for a number one receiver, right? So Howie Roseman's changed. Don't you think he could change overnight?
My thing.
Whoa. Hold on.
Hold on. We just traded for
I'm going to answer your question, what I'm saying is, okay, so if we don't get really Jalen Carter and that, who?
I think he's gone. I think
by the time we get, because y'all don't want to take those players at 10 that you were just talking about, right? So by the time we get to our 30 pick, who in the draft is going to be better by that point than Buddha Baker or Devin White? That's what I'm saying. And they're young also. They're young. They're not old players. They're not Derrick Henry. We're not trading for 29, 20. These are young players that will grow with the team.
I got you, but you're counting on a guy that's unhappy, right, in Arizona, right? He comes to Arizona. He comes to Philadelphia. That's what, 14 to 16 million. He wants to be the highest paying safety in the league.
And you know what I do?
He just said he didn't want to be that. He just wants to go somewhere he can win.
You know what I do? I give him the same contract I was about to offer Gardner Johnson. I just give him a better payout. I give him the same contract I offered Gardner Johnson, but I give him a better payout.
Why you got to bring up Gardner Johnson, man? Come on, bro. You gave me bad
because he's going to take that bread. He's going to take that bread to come play in Philly. That's what I'm saying.
He ain't taking no 4
like 8, 9,000. I mean, 8, 9 million.
It's the 8,000.
$9 million a year, he'll take that.
What I'm going to do in the draft, I ain't even going to lie. If we got to go defense, I'm drafting one of them Maryland boys. I'm sorry.
At 10 or 30, though?
One of them Maryland corners.
Dude's a beast, man.
Oh, the corner.
So you draft
one of the Maryland corners? Yeah, I ain't mad at that. But that's going to be at that.
We can draft
That's going to be at 30.
Listen,
no,
that's
why are you wasting a first round pick on a cornerback when you just paid 2 cornerbacks for 3 years?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But you using the first round for?
Let him explain. Let him
trying to go back to the Super Bowl, right? We're trying to go to the Super Bowl.
I just said earlier, we got to get younger at that corner, man. We got to get younger at corner.
That doesn't matter this year.
Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do.
We got Gritty too.
Hold up. We're going to start with Trey, right?
We got like 5 corners.
We're going to talk about the defensive side of the ball, right? We're going to let Trey go. And then everybody's going to get their turn to say what they would do defensively and explain why. And then we'll get a little rebuttal, but I want to just let it be the person says what they would do and why they would do it. And then we figure things out after that. But real quick before, shout out to SA with another super chat, $2 one. Back when we were talking running backs, he said, Zeke gives 80% of Henry's production, but no picks lost. 80%, no picks lost. That's what Stu was trying to say. I'm not a Zeke guy. I'm not.
Thank you.
That's what Stu was trying to say. So at least SA understand that. Trey White, go ahead and tell us what we would do defensively. Explain why so people don't cut your head off. And then we go. Then we go Stu and then Anthony. We'll go Stu, the bottom to the top. Go, Trey.
So, let me tell you why I'm going to take one of them corners, right? First off, they real physical. Both of them. They real physical. Therefore, you can use them as a CJ, like you used CJ last season. And while you're using them like that, you can mold them behind Slay or Brett. And if they're really that good at safety, you keep them at safety. But for the most part, you have an extra corner on your team if Slay or Bradbury or Maddox go down, because we know Maddox have an injury history too. So that's why I'm drafting one of these corners if we going defense, because Maddox got an injury history, Bradbury getting old, Slay ain't getting no younger, and they physical as hell. So you can put them in that safety. You can. And they corners, they natural at getting the ball. It's a defensive back position, and I ain't gonna lie. If you able to watch the ball more than having to watch a receiver route when you used to receivers running routes, that puts you at an advantage at safety anyway. But it all depends on how you coach and how the defense will go. I'm just saying, hey, you don't.
It's pretty hard switching up positions like that, B.
Listen, no, that production that you lost when Avonte Maddox went down last season on defense
was big.
You ain't losing that as much if you get one of them.
Why did we just sign Greedy Williams? Why did we just sign him?
Yeah, that was.
You basically just explained Greedy Williams.
Greedy's better on the outside, bro. Greedy's better on the outside.
I'll say Greedy Williams can't stay healthy. Let's be real. Greedy Williams cannot stay healthy.
Greedy Williams is best as the number 2 outside.
Let's just say this before we. You about to be right after Anthony, EC1. I will say this, though. Everybody talks about it being a passing league. Cornerbacks do not grow on trees. And I'm not saying just one of the Maryland boys, but I'm saying, the way they rate into the Weatherspoons, the Gonzaleses, if they're there at 10, I understand it doesn't impact you right away, but it really will. And again, our Super Bowl odds go down if we lose one of our bookend corners for the whole season. Again, a team loses their quarterback. Mahomes and the Chiefs are forgetting their Super Bowl window that year if Mahomes ain't playing. Injuries are something you got to hope and pray for, right? What I'm saying is this, though.
It's on Anthony.
If we believe under Jalen Hurts, we're going to be picking in the 20s for a long time, then, you're not going to be able to get that, that really lockdown corner, because think about some of the corners that are doing it at a young age. Surtain, Horn, the Jets boy, what's the Jets dude's name again? Sauce Gardner. These are all top 10 or inside the top 10 picks. I'm just saying, I understand that. I ain't really mad at that.
But Mike, if you go ahead and draft a corner at that 10 spot, right? They're going to be sitting there for the next 2 or 3 years because we're paying so much to our veteran DBs. There is no point. That is a waste of a draft pick.
I'm
Yes,
not
if you get
drafting
hurt, but
anybody
after that, you
on
have
day one.
experience behind
That's a
you.
waste.
So we drafted a cornerback at day one.
That's
Someone got to get
luxury.
traded.
That is luxury. That's what we've been doing for the past 2 or 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah,
We've been doing a lot of luxury picks. If at the 10th spot, you got that's a lottery pick. That guy has to be on the field right now.
If we drafted a corner, there's going to be a lot of issues because, like, what are we doing there? Because to me, when you draft a corner at
Slay
10,
might want a new contract after this year. Slay might be bye-bye. Like, I love Slay, but he almost wasn't here.
Hold on, y'all. We all skipping over Anthony over here. Let's see what Anthony got to say.
At 10, he got to play.
Stick up for the cornerback.
At 10, he got to play. He cannot sit out. So whether it's
let's see Anthony real quick, man.
30 got to play too.
I hear you. I'm just saying. I understand the DB thing more than other people, and I wouldn't be mad. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's my pick.
I would.
But go ahead, Anthony.
Pick for 2 years.
All right. Let Anthony go. Hurt season.
Yeah, I ain't even trying to pop in the. I ain't even get my word. That's the thing though. Like you look at the teams that we've had that have gone to the Super Bowl the year after. And they've been injury riddled. Like the 2005 team, decimated with injuries. The 2018 team, after we got off the Super Bowl win, decimated with injuries. So when I look at it, I mean, you look at the defensive line. You got guys that are getting older, like BG and Fletcher Cox. And I mean, we had some guys leave in the offseason. I think it's a no brainer to kind of like go D line. I mean, if Jalen Carter's there, Kalijah Cansey, Nolan Smith, or Adewale, what I think that's his name.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah. I mean, I think. I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter. I mean, we've all kind of been accustomed to that. We're not getting any younger there. With the key guys, we got to get a key guy in there. You know, we lost Hargrave to the Niners. I don't think with the money we have tied up in the corners that we would go corner at 10. Because I mean, we're also getting pretty good production out of Slay and Bradbury, and you look league wide. I mean, you can get pretty good production out of the older corners. But I mean, my main concern is depth because we were very lucky last year that we had like no injuries. I mean, we had a couple, but when we played the Super Bowl, all 22 from week 1 started. That might not be the case. So we gotta fill them depth pieces because if one of these guys
drops, I need you to knock on some wood.
So let me make sure I understand.
Everybody on the chat knock on wood.
Please,
Everybody.
He said injuries too much.
I hope I knocked on my wood table loud enough.
The only defense I'm taking at 10 is Williamson and Carter. Anybody else is a reach. I don't care what anybody says. Those are the only two I'm taking. If anybody else is there, I'm waiting to the third and waiting. I might trade back. There's no need to take a guy at 10 from North. No. Either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Anybody else, if they're not there, I'm trading back. Because if you want to go defense, you trade back. Yeah, I'm not reaching for a 10th round pick because we need defense then.
So give me your trade back scenario. Trade back to where and get what?
That's how you end up with guys like Garrett Barnett. That's how you end up with guys like Marcus Smith. That's how you end up with guys like that. When you try to reach for a defense end that's not ready, you need to go best player available. Whether it's a defense man, if Jalen Carter's there, I'm all for taking him. But if he's not there, take number. And I know Mike don't like it because he switched the conversation, but I'm not reaching for no defensive end. I feel like that at that point you end up with a bad pick. That's how you end up with bad picks overall because you reach rather than get the best player available.
I didn't say you have to pick him at 10. So
I'm not saying
I would like you to elaborate on a possible trade back scenario to 18, 17, 15, 20.
He's saying where would you trade to though, EC? Where would you trade to?
He tries to say,
I mean, listen. There's going to be teams that are going to be moving up for a quarterback at 10, right? I mean, if you don't see anything good, let's say Bijan goes to set 8, and Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are off the board too, right? I'm trading back. There's going to be a team that's going to want to come up for a quarterback, right? I'm going to get as much picks possible. and I'm going to move back. If I want a guy like, a corner or someone like that, if someone slips, you never know with Howie Roseman, right?
I mean,
we got 2 first-round picks. So we could always trade that. We could always trade the 30 and move down a couple seconds if there was a player in the defensive end that drops. You never know with Howie.
I mean, if you trade for Derrick Henry, and obviously you'd be trading back at a 10, you can go get a D lineman or a D end. If you get like a second or a third or fourth, whatever, you can go grab a guy.
See, and also I don't believe that report too. I think that was just a phony reporter making a phony accusation.
You shouldn't hit your wagon to
because
it.
the Eagles are picking. That's how I look at it. I mean, the guy is a Ninja Warrior / NFL player. I mean, he's not in rapport.
He was a former.
He played in the league. He was a defensive end for the Packers.
And not only that, him, AJ Brown, and Derrick Henry all have the same agent.
Cool.
So
cool.
I'm saying
he might
have heard some conversation and thought something might have been in the works. But you know what I'm saying?
Because there's rumors
he heard something though.
All right, well,
Jay Glazer just said that there was nothing going on. So he works from Fox.
Correct.
He would have heard something too.
No, he was for ABC. He was just a Ninja Warrior shit.
That all being said, so I understand you, EC. You say there's not
CBS.
There's not a defensive player not named Will Anderson and Jalen Carter that is worth 10 through 14 in your mind, 10 through 15 in your mind.
Really?
So I'm going off what EC said. Listen, all that being said is, I know where you stand. You and Trey White are both y'all got. I'm surprised you're not wearing your draft 5 hat. And again, if we draft 5, I'm not mad at it. I just wanted to talk about defense a little bit because I think my videos, a lot of it's been overshadowed by every news story from Bijan Robinson, and I've been doing it too. So I just wanted to give some different takes. But go ahead, Stu. Defensively, give me your scenario if we do whatever.
Defensively, I'm gonna say it like this. If Will Anderson, Jalen Carter ain't there, I'm going to trade back. But here's the deal. If whoever's trying to trade up, and I don't care what they trying to trade up for, if they ain't offering a switching picks and still offering a first rounder for next year and a couple of like a 5th or a 6th round pick, I'm not moving no further back than 16. Why? Because I feel as though at 16, at least there's going to be some high talent that's going to drop. You know what I'm saying? That I can find there. And if I can get back to like 15, 16, 17 at the latest, and maybe a Bijan, if Bijan's gone, maybe a Jackson Smith or Jigba still there, at least I know I got that player with a 5th round option. And like you said before, Fly Eagle 17, I got that extra 1st round pick next year as an addition to it.
Yep.
And I'm adding somebody that's a plug and play guy in my team that's going to come in and give me impact right then. Other than that, get out of here. Now I have 6, maybe 7 players that in the 1st round, I'm not trying to, I really won't pass up. Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, and I got to say Kalijah Cansey. Those are the 3 on the D line. I like Trenton Simpson at the linebacker spot, but I also at the secondary, I like those 2 boys from Maryland. And I also like Keely Ringo, and I also like Brian Branch. Those are my 7 guys. That's it. If I can get one of those, at least 2 of those 7 guys on the defense at the end of this draft, I got younger in key spots. And as far as the corners go, I still got, like I said before, I got high hopes in Josh Jobe out of Alabama. And there was a guy that was another undrafted free agent out of Clemson that we had last year. There are young guys that can develop behind Bradbury and Slay that can step up. But if you can get either Goodrich, yes. I believe they can develop. And one of them either behind Mattis, they can come in that slot position, maybe either Goodrich or Joe. Either one of them. But you got to find another outside guy. Maybe it could be Keely Ringo that could come in. You could develop for a couple years behind Bradbury or Slay. They can develop in your number one or number two guy. And if you grab Branch and happen to extend Edmonds as the other safety and have Blankenship as that third safety, I think for quite some time we could be good as a defense because we've gotten younger in key spots and guys developing behind them.
I ain't mad at it. Before you go, KK, let's get.
I'm gonna say this before I go. I think Jalen Carter and Warrington are best players available in defense. If not, I'm trending back in the second round. That's how I feel. But I respect a lot of people's opinions. Mike, I appreciate you for having a live stream, man, and I appreciate you. Usually, I always try to make it, but you be either late sometimes because you be early sometimes because I have things to do sometimes.
I'll be on a different day. I'll be on the wrong days. I'll be on the wrong day.
Hey, Mike, my bad for being late today. I had to make a store run.
And I love watching your videos, man. Keep up the great work. I gotta go. I got two things. I appreciate y'all, and we're gonna see what happens.
EC, good seeing you, bro.
Hey, EC, bring that same energy next week.
every week, every time you come on, bring that energy,
today,
bro.
Boy.
Hey, listen.
Every time you come on, bring that energy, man.
With the 10th overall pick, I might not be back.
Yeah.
Hey, every time you come on, bring that energy, EC. I love it, baby.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, go ahead. Philly Alley 12. Go ahead. Give us your take. Sorry for being in the back. I brought you on the first time, and I guess the mic wasn't working. I wasn't sure what was going on. But can we hear you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I appreciate you having me on here.
No doubt. So, of course, I will let you talk a little bit about offense, too, because you didn't get to say what you had to say. But if you want to give your little offensive take and then give your take in general about the draft, and then after that, if I force you to talk about defense, how would you go about it? You know what I mean? But you can give your overall take.
I'm definitely interested in both sides of the ball. I think that we definitely might split up picks here in the draft. I think personally, Jalen Carter, he's probably the second best overall player in this draft. If you have to trade up for him, in my opinion, he's worth 10 and 30 to go get Jalen Carter because we do need somebody to replace, the D tackle position alongside Jordan Davis for the future. But obviously if we can't get our hands on him and we do end up going running back at some point, I do prefer Bijan Robinson over Gibbs. I think it's we just paid Jalen, which is a big deal. And Jahmyr Gibbs is really bad in pass protection. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. But I've seen a lot of clips of him just being very poor in the pass protection game blocking. So I don't think that's someone that the Eagles necessarily would be as interested in for that exact reason. They probably want to protect their quarterback. But, later round, I do think that someone that hasn't been mentioned that Eagles should have their eye on is someone like Branch. He can play safety at a very high level. He's a hard hitter. It fills a hole that we need. And alongside with Blankenship and Terrell Edmonds, I think that they're really, really well together. Other than that, I mean, that's basically my take on the draft. That's how the players I'm really liking and looking at.
All solid. Like I said, Brian Branch, most of his snaps came from the slot, but his game does show that he can transition to safety the way he plays the run, his ability to sniff out certain plays, his recognition. He played in the box a lot. He got cover skills too. I'm worried about him running up the seams multiple times with guys, but I mean, probably the physical safety I've seen in a while. His ability to time the blitz, they used him 44 times. His tackling was all in the 90s every single year he played, and so I do like Branch. And I was always thinking that Branch is going to be there for us around 30, but I wouldn't be surprised because of the safety class. Now, I like Antonio Johnson. Jordan Battle's okay too, but still, in previous years, I think this is the safety class isn't as big as it normally is. And so I think you can see somebody pull a Brian Branch in that 20-ish area. I won't be surprised if he goes off there. If not, I'm looking at him a lot at 30. But defensively, if we don't go Bijan, right? Because that's the big offensive guy, right? We don't go offensive line. Do you see a defensive player not named Jalen Carter, Will Anderson there to take at 10? Or are you trying to move back, garner some picks, and hopefully get another defensive player if you had to go that route, if I'm forcing you? What'd you think?
I personally think moving back would be the option here. Probably no further than like 14-ish. But like at 10, a lot of people will be too. It's like they're not valued enough at 10. Other than those, in my opinion. But there is one more thing I want to speak on, if you don't mind, from earlier when we were talking about like Buddha and Derrick Henry. Both of them would be, I think, phenomenal additions to our team. The thing is about trading for them is they're already under contract. So they would need to be restructured. Like Derrick Henry needs to make 10. He's set to make 10 mil next year. And that's a lot of money. And like in my opinion, that's a little too much. So maybe you do look in the draft for that. If you're not going to pay Miles Sanders $6 million, why are you going to pay Derrick Henry 10? You know,
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. But the same goes for
exactly
Buddha.
what I was saying.
Buddha's is set like not next year, but the following 2 years to make over 15 mil. You know, a year, and that's a lot of money for a safety. So that's more than Jesse Bates. So like he needs to be like
Jesse got that.
Jesse was in a
16.
16.
Yeah, but Allie, here's what you're not taking into consideration when it comes to those contracts. Here's what you're not considering when it comes to those contracts. We have Howie Roseman.
Let him cook.
Yeah. Like I said, it would need to be
all you got to do is called Howie Works. Why? Because of how he works.
Yeah, and Derek wouldn't cost a lot to come here because he has 1 year left. Like it wouldn't cost a first round pick. There's no way because we have to re-sign.
Yeah, not at all.
You would have the leverage there. Yeah. Again, part of the reason why we were able to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? Because yes, he wasn't as known as he was until he played with us, but he was a key contributor for the Saints. He was a ball hawk. He was a shit talker. He was a good player over there. The reason we were able to finagle him for a 5th and a 7th or whatever we got him for is because the Saints ain't had the leverage because he was going to walk for free. So they could just trying to get anything. And that's the Derrick Henry thing. If Henry plays, he got 1 more year. So you would want to get something before letting him walk because the Titans not going to be able to work another contract out with him past 2023. That being said, you would get him, you would try to restructure, extend, put some void years, get it to about 8.5, 8.3, 8 mil. And yes, it's more than Miles Sanders. Here's the difference though. In this league, you don't want to be tied to a running back. What Miles got 4-year deal, right?
Yeah.
Only 6 mil, right? But again, it's 4 years. So when people say, why would you pay Derrick 8 or 9 and you wouldn't pay Miles 6? We're paying Derrick 8 or 9 with us knowing that he's only going to be here a year, maybe 2, not 4, to where when money starts getting more hectic for Jalen, as we see them contracts, 6.3, 13.1, 21.2, 31 point whatever, right? You would still have Miles Sanders on that deal that you have to keep him on in a year that Jalen's getting paid 30, when you really don't who knows if Miles even worth that? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is getting Derrick Henry on the years Jalen's going to be under the cap for under 15, total of 6 and 13 is why that makes sense compared to, because I wanted to explain it and I kind of forgot to in my Derrick Henry video because I was anyways, that's why they would do something like that because Miles wanted a 4-year deal and 6 mil 4 years from now, we probably not trying to do. If we get a young running back, we wouldn't be doing it. And Derrick Henry would only be here for a year or 2, but it'd be for the push your chips type in thing. I'm not saying it's true or not, but that's how that would work under the cap. And then Howie Roseman will sprinkle a little something else on it because you know how he do.
Hey, I wanted to address something real quick.
Right, after this, let's get to Kincaid and Fly Eagle 17 with their
but hold on. You got to read it on the YouTube side because it's a super chat, and I actually agree with what they say.
Oh, shout out to my guy, Big Fish Little Boat. I sometimes forget to go back to the YouTube side. I gotta pull 2 screens up when I do this Jan stuff. But
I know that's why I just told you that. That's why I said something.
Big Fish Little Boat, always love his commentary, and I love when he calls in too. So Big Fish Little Boat, you got to download the Jan app so you can get up on here too. Enjoy your commentary post Super Bowl or pre Super Bowl and pre NFC Championship.
That's what I wanted to address. What he just said, but go ahead and read it.
Gibbs is more valuable player. He can play the slot and running back. So he's talking about Gibbs being more valuable than one Bijan Robinson.
Here's the thing about that. I agree to an extent with you, Big Fish. To an extent. But here's the thing. Both of them can both play out in the slot. It's just that Gibbs is faster, more twitchy, and more explosive than as an athlete than Bijan is. As Bijan is more of a physical one, and he can actually, you know what I'm saying, take that more physical inside and bounce off tackles. Both of them can play in the slot and catch passes, man. Both Gibbs and Bijan can play in the slot. I've seen them both do it in college. One can't do it and the other can. They both can do it. It's just one will probably be more effective than the other one will be.
Off of that super chat real quick, I just want to ask y'all a question. If we can draft either one of those, who do y'all think is going to the slot? Because I think Kenny Gainwell is going to the slot. Like if they're in the formation and we audible out,
Gibbs would go to Gibbs will go to the slot. He's shiftier and his body is more slender for it.
Kenny G, go back and watch Kenny G's Memphis tape.
I was about to say it was a question, but
I'm not saying Kenny G can't do it. I know he can. I went back to his Memphis tape. I watched it. I'm just saying Kenny G he has a more Sproles build, so he's more thick and physical than Jahmyr Gibbs is. Whereas Jahmyr Gibbs is a more slender guy. He's more shifty and more agile than Gibbs would be. Granted, Gibbs Gainwell would be. He's a little shifty. His body's a little more slender and shiftier.
Yeah, that is one reason why I would like.
Too. Oh, I think he also means that if we had to talk about Bijan at 10 or Gibbs at 30, so now you're also taking. I'm just going off his word valuable too. Valuable on the field and off. Also valuable if that's the discrepancy in which you can get them too. So now you look at their game / that. So I don't know if he meant that. I just thought about that as we were speaking.
Then he's 100%. He's 1,000% right in that aspect.
In a big picture, though, that is one of the reasons why I do want a running back, because if you get Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs and you got that two-back formation with Jalen and everybody, it's like that just adds more to our offense where you're not going to be able to stop it because either one of them can go out to the slot. Really,
I would love to see Boston Scott line up, or line up together.
I love when we do that two-back formation with Jalen. It's unstoppable. Every time we're in a two-back formation with Jalen, it's unstoppable.
I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Gibbs, but it does mean something when he's running behind the best offensive line in college football. So, like, it's just one cut, and you're, like, free. Everything's open. Like, you don't see a lot of –
But that's what we today in my video. That's what we need today in my video.
Yeah, he's really moving from the best offensive line in college to best offensive line in NFL. So, I mean –
the pass protection's a big deal for me, though. Like, it was really embarrassing watching him pass protect sometimes. Like, and that's at the college level. What makes you think when you got people like Hassan Reddick coming at you like off the end and you got to pick that block up to save Jalen's blind side? Like, you trust him doing that? I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I agree. Kincaid, hit us with your defensive only. What would you do scenarios and whatnot?
If it's defensive only, let's be honest. I think Jalen Carter's going to be gone. Will Anderson will be gone. I'm either going to, like I said, I'm going to stick with Smith. If he or I can move back and get Cansey from University of Pittsburgh. I mean, he has a sign of approval from Aaron Donald, the best defensive tackle in the league. He said he's the next one. So I would either go there. I know this is made in my mind. I know I'm reaching here far. But if I wanted to go 30, I would even look at the young bull. I can't think of his name right now. I'm drawing a blank from LSU, the outside linebacker. Ojulari, I will go after him. I mean, you could put him on the other side of Hassan. You're gonna create havoc. You're just gonna create havoc. You know what I'm saying? But Howie is great at building through the trenches. And I think a lot of people forget about Milton Williams. I want to see him.
That's where I was gonna go.
You know what I mean? Derek Barnett. I know we poo-poo on him and stuff like that, but let's be honest. He was the one that saved us and helped us get a ring that year. I know
you're saying if he was healthy, he would have helped.
He would have exactly. But I know we poo-poo, and we would have never got whack-ass Robert Quinn. It was garbage.
Yeah, that was probably one of my worst takes of the season because I kept on tooting that he's going to just have one sack that impacts, and this man stole a fourth-round pick. Listen, but it goes to the wayside because Howie's done, I mean, every single free agent acquisition hit to the utmost fullest. Like, we didn't just get A.J. Brown. We got A.J. Brown best season, right? We didn't just get Hassan Reddick because Hassan Reddick on Arizona and Carolina was good. A.J. Brown on Tennessee was good.
We just got, hold on though, we got A.J. Brown dirt cheap compared to if you look at other wide receiver contracts above him.
Even at that time, he took a deal.
It gets better than that. You know who we got really cheap? Hassan Reddick. We got him for
we got him for a bag of chips and a trip to the cleaners.
We'll be restructuring his team though.
We have to. You got some rap snacks.
Yeah, bro. I got him for 3 packs. We got him for 3 packs of Rillos, bro.
I hear you. But here's the thing, though. And here's the main thing. That again, we didn't just get these guys came to us and we knew what they could do, but they outdid what we even thought. Like Bradbury went from solid at the Giants to Pro Bowler. Hassan Reddick went from double-digit sacks to damn near almost 20. You know what I mean? Same with A.J. Brown, best year. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, best year. So everything hit besides the middle year trade. And so
now that you just mentioned that, hold on, you just mentioned that. I just said we got A.J. Brown for 3 packs of Rillos. Bro, we got C.J. Gardner-Johnson for 3 packs of old school homeboy chips.
Yeah, and but guess what? We didn't even get to finish.
And they was 25 cents a piece.
We had to give up. We only got to eat a little bit and had to give the bag up. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Nah, we ain't giving back up. We tried to keep him. He just ran away. And signed for even cheaper.
We spilled him. We didn't give him away. We dropped him on the ground. No 5-second rule. You know what I mean?
No, he dropped. No. He was that meatball that jumped off the table in that old song. He jumped off the table and rolled out the damn door.
Yeah, you know, it's about that time when we comparing people to meatballs and chips and whatnot. You know what I mean?
And Rellos and shit.
So hold on. I do like Cansey though, and I'm curious to see if we don't take him. I'm curious to see. I'm surprised he ain't visit no team. You know what I mean?
That's
reports
very
that shocked me.
But this, I live up here in Cansey, I think he's the type of guy. And let's be honest. This year's draft is literally it's not the best draft. It's real top heavy, and then it takes a little nosedive. You're gonna find your little diamonds in the rough and stuff like that, which is how he is good at. Right?
Perfect.
The 6th, 7th, 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? But it's the type of draft where you can move back and get, and you can move back and get those 4th because we don't have a 4th, we don't have a 5th. We can go back and get those 6th. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's one of those ones where you can go back, trade back. If you want to get trade back, I say you go between 14 and 19. I think in the 20s, that's too far back, in my opinion.
That's what I said. I'm not trying to go no further back to 18. But Howie Roseman is responsible for the greatest diamond in the rough find in NFL history in finding Jordan Mailata. I don't care what nobody says.
Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills is a diamond that got friggin', I don't know what happened to him. He got some flaws in there.
I love that.
He got some flaws in there. I'm talking about a flawless diamond in the rough that Howie found, and that's Jordan Mailata. You can't find a future franchise like that.
I know Kelsey is better.
Kelsey is probably the best diamond in the rough.
No, Kelsey was just considered undersized. Jordan Mailata had never played football in his life.
When you're talking about a diamond in the rough, a diamond in the rough is Kelsey.
Yeah, diamond in the rough is Kelsey.
Hold on.
A diamond.
He is, but we got to give credit to Howard Mudd for that because Howard Mudd is the one that found him.
Yeah. Okay.
But still, I'm just saying, as far as this dude never played football in his life. All he knew was, I'm a big 6'8", 300 damn near 400 pound rugby player.
He played rugby.
It's not the same at all, though, because in rugby, he's not doing any blocking. In rugby, there's no blocking at all.
Exactly.
He didn't want to score the touchdown.
Yeah.
But think about this, though. Lane Johnson went from playing quarterback in high school to playing defensive line to learning how to kick step as a tackle. He had experience playing football, going backwards at some point trying to block. Jordan Mailata, all he knew was rugby. I'm running these little ass dudes.
I'm bigger than you. I'm bigger than you. I'm about to run your ass
So
over.
to find somebody that can take that size and the mobility and everything and convert that to stop going forward and say, hey, look, I'm going to be a big ass dude that all these big dudes coming forward, they just going to realize you ain't doing nothing but running into a mountain.
And that had nothing to do with nobody but Howie pulling that trigger.
Sorry. I still gotta go with Kelsey, man. He's about to get a gold jacket.
Because, like, if you listen to the interview about that, though, Jeff Stoutland said Howie called him and said, I need you to go check this guy out and see if you can do something with him. And Jeff said, I had a trip planned. And I was getting ready to go on. But I said, all right, well, cool, I'm going to go check this guy out. And he said, I'm glad Howie told me to go check this guy out. Because this dude, as raw as he was a blank canvas. You could do whatever with this dude. You could teach him whatever. And if he really took to it, he could be the best. Come on now.
And like coming in, he could have been a nose or anything. He could put him at any position and taught him from the beginning, like any position on the line.
Defense, that's the beauty
defense
of it.
or
That's the beauty of
offense.
it.
And listen,
So
we'll
for
say this:
Howie
the
to
left
find
tackle
that
is
and tell Jeff to go
very
see that,
important to your right-handed quarterback.
That
Line
yeah.
side.
Right.
Yeah, so for Howie to see that and tell Coach Stoutland, hey, go check this guy out, see if this is somebody you can work with, and then to actually trade up in the 7th round to say, I'm going to make sure I get him while he's there so nobody else can.
Actually, before
get me that.
Fly Eagle 17, how about Bobby Boucher, right? He was the water boy converted to linebacker. You know, no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Fly Eagle 17. I just watched that movie recently, too, so I just thought about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But go ahead, Fly Eagle 17. Give us your defensive breakdown.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm still doubling down on what I said, but y'all had a lot of takes that made me like help with what I was saying, especially Kincaid. When you just said this draft, it was already something but with this draft, basically, it's not a heavy draft, right? So that was kind of my point. Where if we don't get what we want, there's 2 players that we're not just looking at. I'm not looking at players. I'm not looking at somebody that's under contract that's just locked down. No, I'm looking at 2 players that actually want to leave, and they both want to play for us. So that's why I'm in there. Not only that, they're also 24, 25 years old. So if you look at it, you're only drafting a person that's what, like a year or 2 younger.
Buddha 27.
He is? Oh, I'm not. Devin White is like 24, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. But
either way, though,
that's kind of my point. All right, if we don't get who we want at 10,
Buddha 26.
He'll be 27 started the season, right? That's what someone.
The point is, they're young. They're younger than they're young, proven players.
They're young.
They're young, proven players. Basically, if you don't get who you want at 10 on the defense, like Jalen Carter, a couple of people that you guys said, then yeah, I'm trading those picks because, for one, the draft isn't that deep. So what are you really looking for? Because at 30, a lot of those players that y'all are talking about are gone. If you don't get one of them at 10, and 9 times out of 10, I know we're not talking offense, but if we do take Bijan or something, and because Jalen Carter's gone, okay, now all those other players y'all just talked about are gone by 30. So now I'm using some of those trades to make sure that this year either way it's Super Bowl or bust, right? Like just off of how we just came off of and the roster that we have, looking at the full roster on offense and defense. I want playmakers that are going to play day one, and they're going to play, and they're going to be experienced enough and good enough to play in the Super Bowl when we get there. You see what I mean? So therefore, I will make that trade. And the other thing y'all aren't thinking about, y'all are all talking about this year. What about next year? We have hella drafts.
Oh, yes, well.
With that depth, all the depth that y'all are talking about, I don't want depth this year. I'm not going to lie to you. It's Super Bowl bust anyway. So say if, somebody gets hurt and we have to bring on our 10th round, our number 10 draft pick. Okay, yeah, that worked great, but he wasn't doing nothing for us before then. Like, he wasn't doing anything to help us. You know what I mean? He was sitting on the bench or whatever. I want somebody that's going to help us and fill in spots. If we do have an injury, again, knock on wood, then that just happens. It just happens. It's nothing we can do about it. But I want all the players that can do the best for us this year, so I would make one of those trades. One of them, not both.
I mean, you want somebody to make an impact right now,
because I feel like this is our
right?
best chance to go back for a Super Bowl. And if we don't make it, then next year's draft is where we're going to get a lot of depth, and we're going to make a lot of other moves that'll help us build the team that you guys are talking about. But right now, we need 22 players that's about to ball out.
I mean, for sure, but I think that being like depth is really important for a Super Bowl run as well. Like we were very lucky last year that like Blankenship came in and played good, and like certain people stepped into their role. Like Josiah Scott, we all thought he was going to be trash, right? He came in there, got a few picks for us, like played some good ball.
Hold on. Don't bring up Josiah Scott, Mr. 3rd.
No, but that's why depth is important. The point of the matter is that's
not Mr. 3rd and 30.
Depth is very important. That's what I'm trying to say. Because now we have Greedy Williams to step in instead of a Josiah Scott. Like depth is very important for a Super Bowl run. We're lucky to be as healthy as we were last year.
I'm happy you said that because I forgot about that point, but that was actually part of my point. If you look around the defense, we don't have the depth that y'all might want, but there's depth there. In the cornerback position, I'm not drafting a corner because we do have Greedy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And the lineman, and even on the defensive line, if we don't get a good lineman, I would rather get a player that can play because we do have a rotation. We can still go pick up players the same way we did, experienced vets that can play in that line. Because if we're going to go get a defensive lineman for depth, but he's not getting any playing time, what was the point? You see what I mean?
No,
listen, because next year we can get those players in the draft where we have more picks and it might be a deeper draft. You see what I mean? So I just feel like I just want somebody that's ready to play now. That's basically my thing. If we're going defense only right now, that's my thing. If we get anybody in the first round, pick 10 or 30, I want somebody on both of those picks. I want somebody who's ready to play.
I totally agree, I would. You know, once we re-signed James Bradbury and did the whole thing with Darius Slay, I fell back on corner. But again, I'm also, if you're telling me I'm gonna get, again, it's still a reach. I mean, not a reach. It's still a guesstimate on what you believe this prospect's gonna be. But if you're telling me, again, I think one of the hardest thing to do is get a cornerback that you can put on an island that you can, that can be a top 5, top 10 guy. I think it's hard to draft that. You can't really find that in the later rounds. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr., shout to him. He got discredited with his size, and he's playing ball. But I just think that, the way the board falls, if one of these guys were there, I doubt they do it now. But I still wouldn't be mad at the simple fact because, we think Slay's going to be here past this year. I don't know about that, but I understand totally. Number 10 is so high. He got to come in and give you what Devontae Smith did right away. I totally agree.
And that's what I was going to say, too. My thing is this. All right, 10, you're not taking a corner. Like, nobody in this chat, I don't think nobody's just taking a corner on number 10. Either you're trading back or whatever, but what I'm saying is after 10, like you said, it's hard to come by. You don't think that in 20 picks that those couple corners are gone?
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. They're gone at 30. You see what I mean? If you don't get them at 10, they're gone at 30. So now you're playing with like, okay, if I don't get them now, if they're not this important, then I'm not going to get them, which means that you have to do something with that 30 pick.
Correct. Well, think about this. Before James Bradbury re-signed, when we all were on here thinking that we were going to lose him, my main option was one of them Gonzo or Witherspoon.
Yeah, me too. Me too, definitely. Me too.
And so it changed. But again, like I said, if we're winning football games, like you can always, trade and get somebody. But I'm just saying corners are becoming they're going to be starting to get paid more. And that's going to be a premium defensive spot. I'm going to be more okay with average linebackers or safeties at times. I want everything, right? I want it all. I want to always make this team better. But when it comes down to it, C and B safeties and linebackers and A corners or vice versa, corner's gonna be edge rusher and then corner. Like as when you're trying to get that superstar guy on your team.
Okay, Kel, one more thing, Mike. I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but because you just said it, you say you would take a mediocre linebacker. The reason why a great linebacker is key this year is because he needs to show Nakobe Dean, he's
about to be the great linebacker.
He is, but he needs help. He needs somebody that's right by him to help him learn that. And then we go get a great line. Just hypothetically, say Devin White. Even if we don't re-sign him or restructure him, he has that 1 year when Nakobe Dean was really with a lump, like side by side, real gameplay where he can learn.
Can't really get that from Morrow.
He can help.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
It's going to help him. It's going to help our long-term goals at the same time. It's helping our short-term goals. You see what I mean? Like, short-term, is helping us this year. Long-term,
Fly Eagle 17, you just said something that was really interesting. Is if you think about it, and what's kind of crazy. So we're going to this draft from Thursday, right? So these guys coming in, we basically got an extra 3 guys that's coming back from next year, and they're basically going to be in the draft as well with Davis, Dean. Those guys didn't play last year.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
we have some exactly.
There's like an extended draft class. You know what I'm saying?
We do have young players,
and they're all learning an entirety.
Even Jurgens.
Yeah,
they're all learning an entirety.
We drafted him too this year. Like, you know,
but on a defensive side, they're all learning.
We don't have the depth that y'all are talking about, but we have depth in our team.
But also on the defensive side, we're also all learning an entirely new scheme under an entirely different
similar scheme, very similar.
It's all big.
But we weren't so much of a 3-4 last year as will be this year.
And that's also a reason why. That's also a reason why
we need to get Nolan Smith.
I would rather put a veteran
that 3-4 defense, baby.
That's why I would put a veteran back there though too, because we are learning a new defense.
That's why you got Mark from Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said you get a guy. That's why that's why I mentioned a guy like Trenton Simpson, who is actually a guy who can play the run and actually drop into coverage.
Right. Yeah, I feel like we definitely need to pick up another linebacker. Like with the depth, like if someone falls down in that linebacker room, we're
it's
like
over with.
It's
over with right now.
Was Sean Bradley trotting out there?
Yeah,
not even Sean Bradley. No. You know what's crazy? I think.
Hey, let's get a Temple. Let's get a Temple guy some love, man. Come on now, let's get him some love.
Davion Taylor, he was somebody that I thought was going to actually be good for us this year. No, the year that just passed. I thought until we start doing those pickups.
But everybody's problem. Everybody wants Davey. I understand it, and I'm a typical Philly fan.
I'm not counting on it.
We want him right now. He was too raw when we drafted him. He didn't have much playing experience when we drafted him. He actually had to learn to be a linebacker because even in high school, he was really a safety that they used in a linebacker position, in that wild linebacker position every now and then.
And Jalen Hurts also had to learn how to read defenses.
But here's the thing, though. Davion
was still learning how to play linebacker before he ever got drafted.
But my point is this, Stu. When he went down, what were all of us saying about him when he went down? He was going upwards.
Yeah, he was
looking great. He was looking great.
Getting better.
He was really getting better. Honestly, I think at that
he's
specific
a fast
time,
linebacker.
At that specific time, I think for the most part, people were like saying Davion Taylor was better than TJ Edwards at that time when he went down.
You got to remember. First of all, TJ sat behind Nathan, Gary, and both.
Yeah, exactly. And TJ turned up after Davion got hurt, but Davion had that starting role at first.
I want to make a point about Davion Taylor, just like about Jordan Mailata, how you guys were saying it's a great thing.
Exactly.
Blank sheet and how like you can mold him to however you want to be. Davion Taylor just started learning football when he got to Colorado. Like he's a blank sheet.
That's what I'm saying.
And he sat down for a year and a half.
But his religion when he was in high school before he got to college, he wasn't able to practice or play much because of his religion. Because during his religion, at certain times he couldn't practice or play with his team because on certain days on game days he wasn't allowed to play much because he had to be home at a certain time when sun went down. And during practices he really couldn't be there much.
Let me just say this real quick.
Let me his legs a little bit younger. That's all.
I had Davion Taylor on the channel going into his second season, and when he told me straight up that it doesn't sound like much, but the one thing that he learned big time was just striking an offensive lineman, goes to show how far he was behind. We drafted him the same way we drafted Mailata, mainly on what we think they could be, and it's hard to hit twice. Not saying Davion would have not hit, but there's a reason why after being hurt, he got healthy and he was let go and put on the practice squad. All right, so he gonna have to battle himself out off the practice squad because he was healthy enough to be on the roster. But guys like Christian Ellis came up, guys like Sean Bradley, Patrick Johnson are on that linebacker spot. So again, as much as we say people are nice, the coaches see them time and time again, Monday through Friday.
All of them, they got that extra. They all got that extra.
Don't get me wrong. I wasn't saying I wanted him to start. It was just part of my point that we have more depth than y'all are talking about. That's what I wasn't saying I want him to start at all.
That's like saying this, though. That's like saying this. So real quick. I gotta get the super chat. That's like saying, forget wide receiver. We still got Greg Ward on the practice squad. That being said, right?
No, that's not the same.
Hold on.
That's not the same.
No, hold up. Wait. Put more respect on Greg Ward as a wide receiver than Davion Taylor as a linebacker.
At this age, no. That's Mike,
facts.
At this age,
Mike. That's facts.
No. What I'm saying
I have hella respect for Greg Ward. Not right now. Not at this age.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, we don't want to rely on Davion Taylor any more than we want to go back to Greg Ward Jr. That's what I'm trying to say to you at this point. And I love Davion.
I was in Tampa last year, Mike.
On Twitter, I was in Tampa
for that game, Mike. I was in Tampa. I seen it.
But here's the thing.
I seen it with my own eyes in Tampa.
You're not watching today, though. So I'm cool.
Here's a true statement, though, Mike. And here's a true statement for all of y'all from me personally. In a pinch, who would I choose in coverage? To cover a running back out of the backfield, would I choose Davion Taylor or Kayvon Wallace? I'll take Davion Taylor.
Any day.
Here we go. Real quick, though.
I'm not saying a word.
Dang Burrito said, remember these numbers, 6, 13, 21, and 31. It's not Super Bowl or bust. Those are the cap hits. And I will say this. I agree. The way Howie's restructured, the way Howie got this contract, we are in a Super Bowl window for 4 years straight. I think what Fly Eagle 17 is saying, and what we're saying is because of the disappointing loss in the Super Bowl and still having a squad that we believe in, we feel like we got to get back there, like just off some GP fan stuff. But yes, once the season's over with, another run closer to the Super Bowl is still going to be something you can work off saying that these next 4 years are going to be our years.
Cheap as hell at the quarterback position.
We trying to run it back, though. Last super chat, D Dragon with the $5 banger. He says, money is nice. Money is nice. Championships are better. I swear Jalen Hurts is a walking bar. Fly Eagle Slide, like the video. Hit the like button.
He be in the studio,
dude. Yeah, he gotta be.
He in the studio.
Y'all seen that? No,
he went Conway. He went with Griselda. He's somewhere with Griselda. Jay.
Hey, where he be coming from with all them?
Who was it that said? Who was it on the team? It was an interview.
He over there with my man Mike's song right now.
it was an interview I watched recently. They were saying it was one of the teammates. He was like, Jalen got to practice his shit in the mirror. Because he
was Slay. It was probably Slay.
Yeah, Slay. Yeah,
I think it was Slay. He was like, he practiced this shit in the mirror.
Slay said that to AJ. He said he got to practice shit in the mirror. AJ was like, I don't know.
No, I think was it Slay? No, it was Slay or AJ. AJ was like, yo, where he come up with this shit?
Yeah. That's what Slay said. He got to practice this shit in the mirror.
But still, the bar after the Super Bowl when he said like.
I had a purpose before they had an opinion. That shit was crazy.
That one kind of came off.
That was the one. No, that was the one.
I didn't walk through the fire just to smell the smoke.
Yeah, I like that one too. But listen,
where did they come up with this?
No, but when he said the purpose and opportunity one, I was like, ooh, and then he said, y'all like that?
Nah, I'm mad though. I'm mad because right after he said,
he was like,
right after he said, I had a purpose before everybody had an opinion. You go look at a WWE star in there right now named Austin Theory that's using that same damn tagline right now after he said that.
Yeah, but what I liked about that was this. When Jalen Hurts said that one, he paused for a second and was like, you like that one, didn't you? Because he knew, like all the other ones, he says it, and we go
sell merchandise in WWE now. Like it's his shit.
Jalen got a good crew.
Jalen Hurts Houston.
Hey, remember he said the one after the game? What did he say after the game? Rain. He said rain.
Snow. He was trained to go.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear what he said today, though? You hear what he said today, though, right? He said, ain't nothing changed but the weather.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah,
Ain't nothing changed.
too short.
Ain't nothing changed but the weather.
Man, he a rapper, man.
As
He
if
a
it
rapper
is
on
him
his
getting
own.
paid.
Ain't nothing changed but the weather, baby.
He gonna be on
Nothing
it.
changed but the weather.
Lovely.
Hey, and I ain't even going front. That statement is so true for me today because I woke up this morning after yesterday being 71 degrees. I woke up this morning, it was frozen, and actually the power lines out here in Erie, PA got frozen where my lights was out and my power was out for 3.5 hours.
Damn, it's April.
All of a sudden, power company called me when I asked them, like, how come?
I don't miss
Look, they told me they wasn't gonna be able to get it on till by 8:30 tonight. All of a sudden, 3:30, they called me, Mr. Stewart, we'll have your lights on in about 30 minutes.
I miss home, but I don't miss
It's sunny
the weather.
out here. I'm in LA.
Hell no.
I'm in Arizona,
we good. Yeah.
Hey, look, I moved. Hey, look, I moved to where my wife is from, to where she feels most safe, most comfortable. She's most happy. Her family is here for whenever she needs. Me, I always grew up on my own, so I ain't never need to be around my family. My wife happy and safe here in her hometown. I'm good out this joint. Can't nobody do nothing but me.
Hey, that's what you gotta do sometimes. But listen, we've been going on for an hour and 49 minutes. I always say I'm gonna do these for an hour, and I always look at 8 o'clock, and then I always forget. But listen, it's always a great conversation.
It don't never
Love
feel
chopping
like
it up with y'all. Had some Kincaid on here for the first time. Shout out to Philly.
My wife
Howie.
always expects us to be on until about 9.
Right. Yeah, it'd be some long ones. But with that being said, everybody on the YouTube side, listen. If you
Nah, she's just happy I get to talk to other people than her.
I hear you. Listen, we do these every Monday at 7. If we end up changing it, I will let y'all know in videos and community posts. That being said, there's a link pinned to the top of the comment section of the live chat. You can click it right now while we're about to get off. Sign up. It's free. The app is free. You put in the promo code that is available right there next to the link, and bada bing, bada boom, next time you can come on here and argue with us. You know what I mean? It's all love at the end of the day. Different opinions, different takes, but we all just want to see the Eagles prosper, except for the couple haters in the chat. I see y'all, the DB Coopers of the world and whatnot.
I know y'all hate me. Y'all think I talk too much, but I love y'all on the YouTube side. I love y'all anyway.
With that being said, hit the like button on the way out. It's free. It's easy. Don't cost a thing. Still got over 200 people watching. And we'll be back next week. But next week, we will know. Next week, we
Sunday,
might
right?
even change it to Sunday.
Next week, our running back gonna have a number 5 on his back.
Oh boy.
Next week, we might do Sunday.
All I know is next week.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Saturday is the last day of the draft. We might be doing Sunday at 7 next week, just to get to
all
it.
I know is
it's gonna be too. We're gonna be too ready to get on.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, Mike, appreciate you.
And it ain't gonna be too late for me because I'm gonna be sitting here chilling. Sunday. Well, I do go to bed at like 11. So, but yeah, I'll be here. But but one thing we do, but we all gonna know is we all gonna have a good gauge of, you know what I'm saying, what our offense and our defense is going like and how we can and try to figure out what it's going to look like this coming season.
Yeah, that's facts.
I think by the time we get back on, we're going to have like one hole to fill as far as starting 22.
Okay.
I think Howie
we're going to have our team
Howie
ready.
We only got like
April.
3 right now.
Hey, look, just remember I said this the second week in a row. I'm going to say this. Do not be surprised that if we do not draft a damn running back in this draft and we end up signing Ezekiel Elliott for the cheap. Just don't be surprised.
If we don't draft a running back, we got to. We damn near got to.
Now, don't act like I'm hoping for this. I'm not hoping for this, y'all. I'm not asking for this. I'm not wishing for this. I'm not hoping it. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie decide to sign him on the cheap, so we ain't got to be on no long-term, extensive deal, and we can go back into the draft with a whole lot of picks next year and find a guy that can be a long-term solution. I'm just saying.
Drafting 5, Stu.
I just don't want nobody to get their hopes up and be surprised.
We taking five.
Listen, we going to either be singing on here next Sunday at 7 p.m. or we going to be screaming on here next Sunday at 7 p.m. That being said, until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out. Peace.
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 I hope